Greetings, fellow targeted individuals. I want to share with you guys some strategies which may be useful if you're a TI. You're recognizing the signs of being targeted. You're seeing clearly that you're being followed and harassed. Well, most TIs that I know typically will have a car cam. I have one in the back. I have one in the front. I also have some other smaller ones. I'm not going to get into all the strategies I utilize to protect myself, but I'm going to share with you some basic things which may be useful if you don't have a battery bank under your seat. One thing you may want to do, let's say you have your car dash cam, you plug it into your lighter. Well, let's say you only have one. You may want to get one of these ones that has 3 or 4. They're like $5 on eBay. You get them from China. Let's say when you turn your car off, you can't power this thing up. If you don't have a battery bank, well, what you can do is use something like this right here. It's a lighter adapter to USB. You plug your camera up, and let's say you can't afford a big battery bank. Well, you can just buy yourself a small one. So that way, when you're in restaurants, supermarkets, you can be recording for a few hours everything which is going on around you. So let's say you get out of a place and you notice there's 15 white vehicles with no tag. Well, you can get pictures of faces, what's going on around your vehicle. Another thing that I like to use is these digital recorders. This one records for like, I think 22 hours. And I'll wrap this thing up with aluminum foil because jammers can actually stop this thing from working. And if I wrap it, it'll prevent it from shutting down, not recording. And then I'll put this in my pocket, I'll slide it underneath my shirt, and then I'll have it in there. So that way, if I'm at school, if I'm being threatened or harassed, like I have been in multiple schools by people that are extremely ignorant. I don't know where they get these people from, if they're coming from off our streets. Some of them have a U.S. Army background, but some of these people are just pure garbage. And my grandfathers both served in the Army, but some of these people which I had investigated are not people of good moral character. Some have severe drug addictions. I've had some of these people followed down to see what their deal is and to understand their connections. So it's really good to have a digital recorder. So I want to talk about also something else which may be useful. Let's say you're being harassed every single day at a certain location. Well, you may want to find a place where, let's say you like to go and watch the sunset at a lake nearby your house. Before you get to that location, if you have visibility across that lake, you may want to pull off the road and then zoom in and have a digital camcorder where you can just take your card out, put it in your computer, and be able to quickly review your files. I like to do it typically when I'm there. And with the cell phone, there's a little attachment you can use so you can plug it up to a flash drive and extract your information. Really, really cheap. These are very inexpensive ways to protect yourself. You can buy these on the internet for a few bucks. Ladder adapter to USB, so when you have your camera up, you turn your car off, it automatically shuts down. It's also good to make sure that your videos are timestamped. Nothing worse than having to share with police things that have occurred, and they're saying, okay, you have their date is on here, is from 1996. So a lot of these Chinese cameras, they're not programmed, so you have to program them yourself to put the right date. So I want to share a few things here. Hold on one second. Let me look up this word real quick. Okay, I have it right here. So, hold on a second. Nope. So terrorism threats is technically what we are dealing with, fellow TIs. People that support terrorism are people which, according to the dictionary, it says right here, the unofficial or unauthorized use of violence and intimidation in the attempt to achieve political aims. So we are dealing with people that promote terrorism. And the word terrorize means to threaten and frighten over a period of time. Well, if someone's following you and you don't know who they are, well, what are they doing? They're threatening your safety. They're threatening your life. You're not going to feel safe. And the word threat, a stated intention to inflict harm on someone, a person or thing likely to cause harm, the possibility of trouble or danger. The word threaten means make a threat, put at risk. So we're dealing with terrorism threats. If you look up the word terrorism, you look up the word threat, it clearly tells you what a terrorism threat is. Now, I've been a TI for 26 years. And due to the cost of hiring private investigators, I've done the same exact things the private investigators typically do. They go to buy a facility and they zoom in on tags to see if they get a match. I've only done that 3 times in my 26 years I've been alive. I've never threatened anyone, and even DHS clearly states you're allowed to record visibly from a road. So don't hide when you do this. You can do it from a distance. If there's like a coffee shop, don't make it look noticeable. Try to gather evidence. You can also sit in your back seat if you have a really dark tent, and it's really good to have with yourself, because when you turn your car off, to have a fan. So let's say you're noticing when you go to places that people are showing up to harass you, that have harassed you at multiple locations. By sitting in your back seat and having this fan, you're not going to be sweating to death. If you're doing a lot of this, you might want to have some rain guards if you're doing a lot of investigations. So let me see what I have here. Now, in the past, I've been harassed at gas stations, and the same person would show up with a Florida Sheriff's Association sticker on her car and the Star of David. And I was being harassed by women. This was happening repetitively, and I've experienced this in multiple states. So I don't know what's going on with this. I don't know if these people are racist. So let me see right here. It says right here, okay, I have a note here. I should have grabbed my Bible. But overcoming something requires to conquer that which had you bound. So if someone is oppressing you, if a group is oppressing you of your rights, depriving you of your rights, to overcome that situation, you need a way to overcome it. So if you cannot conquer that problem and it's out of your hands, you have to turn it to God. This is a problem that you're not going to be able to take care of yourself, most likely, if you're being gang-stalked. It's important that TIs understand that these people are trying to create predictable events. You go around harassing people, calling them a threat and getting cops involved and doing it for 20 years, it's no longer an investigation. It's harassment. You're trying to promote a problem. You're trying to promote an act which leads to violence. We have to say no about that type of stuff. So these people are not walking in the spirit. These people don't communicate with you. They harass you. They utilize Freemasons, Eastern Star. These are people which are not walking in the spirit and which are trying to prevent problems. They're trying to create a problem at the expense of their own lives. So we're dealing with highly dangerous people. You can also conduct what's called a citizen's arrest, fellow TIs. If you're being stalked at multiple locations and you fear for your safety, well, one thing you can do is arrest that person until police arrive. Tell them, look, I believe you're guilty of aggravated stalking. You have followed me to 8 locations. You've harassed me, and I'm detaining you. And one TI had an issue with one perp. The person reacted in a violent manner. The TI never put their hands on that person, but the person said, I'm not staying here for the cops. I'm a defense contractor. Well, the guy said, if you leave, I'm going to block your car in. The guy says, no, you won't. And they got aggressive and got really close to the TI. So that's when the TI put his hands and said, look, you're getting defensive, you're turning dangerous. I've already told you you're under citizen's arrest and I'm calling the police. Do not flee the scene of a crime. That perp started fighting that TI, and the TI almost shot the perp. And his wife was exiting the supermarket, and fortunately nothing went wrong. But it could have led to an active shooter event where this perp could have shot this TI. Thankfully, it didn't happen. The guy was carrying a gun, but it was concealed. And the TI also was carrying. So it could have turned out to be a bad thing. So in those types of situations, I advise you guys to call police, because you never know if these people are potentially dangerous and emotionally unstable. First of all, if you're following an American with no ties to terrorism, which has written thousands of reports and emails and requests for help, and there's zero, then understand that you're not the problem. You're not the threat actor. This person is, which is trying to make money off of you, off of your harassment and demise. So if you're a TI, I've mentioned in past videos, I encourage TIs to save up, learn a different language, and make a plan. Within 2 years, I want to leave the United States, or I'm going to try to go to a place where I can be more safe. But from what I've gathered, because I've traveled to different states. There is no relief from this unless you leave the United States. You have to wash your hands clean. And every TI that I know that has declared political asylum, the government has zero responses, like as far as the person being a problem. So who's the problem? The people asking for help, or Congress and our agencies saying, you know what, you're a terrorism threat and we're going to bash you and lay down our lives to promote terror. So we are dealing with terrorism threats, TIs. I don't care if they're the NSA, FBI, CIA. It does not matter. When people have to go out of their way to promote a problem, then you're dealing with dangerous people. So I've shared in the past proof that I've been harassed in different states. Nothing's been done. So when you're dealing with these types of people where the government doesn't want to do anything, you can't communicate with them. It's like the Russians. They can't communicate with our country. And we wonder why we're facing so many threats and problems, because our government is becoming the threat. Like this 4th of July, I'm not going to celebrate it for the independence of America. I'm celebrating it in hopes of being liberated from tyranny, targeting, terrorism. These people are terrorizing citizens. This is state-sponsored terrorism. They're targeting the targeted individual community, and they're targeting TIs. And it's not fair. It's not right that we can't enjoy our lives because some people feel like we are a problem when we are trying to communicate. I email these people. You want to talk? Let's communicate. What can be done to fix this? What can I do? What do you need to do? Put one of those bracelet ankle monitoring devices on me so I can just live my life? I'm not hiding from these people. I just want to live. So anyways, God bless. Say no to domestic terrorism. Understand that we're dealing with terrorism threats. You don't need to go to Department of State, the FBI, National Counterterrorism Center to get an answer on what a terrorism threat is. Get yourself a dictionary. It tells you exactly what a terrorism threat is. You can pay a few $100s to a threat assessment professional, and they'll tell you what a terrorism threat is. And if you're showing them these activities occurring in more than one state, they're going to tell you these are activities linked to mass shootings. So we are exposing threats to our government, to our security, to our homeland, to our health and our safety. We didn't have all these problems to this degree until 9/11 happened. Now everyone's being treated like a terrorism threat if they speak out against certain agendas that the liberals don't believe in. Anyways, God bless and peace.